Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and today we're getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This first post was made back in 2018 in the pro-revenge subreddit by a user named Atlas Fox. The post is titled, "Bully from my past decides to show up and talk smack. I get his ass fired, jailed, and fined." This took place just a couple of months ago, but I'll give some backstory. In school, I was bullied pretty badly. In this school, bullying was unofficially popular and accepted. This meant many kids would compete to see how badly they could treat their lessers. Among these asshats were the clique who just hated, the type who had no reason, just that was the way they believed it was. Time passed. I left that school and graduated at another, yet once or twice I met my old school bullies and had to deal with them. No big special deal, just someone picking out of old habits and being told off. Otherwise, everyone else I went to school with just did the same as I did and moved on. This guy was one of those who couldn't let it go, and due to circumstances, I had to deal with him. Please know that I love my job. I'm a computer geek in IT, a nice position where I get to choose how my work gets done with great pay. To me, it's a dream come true. So with this in mind, understand that I will fight tooth and nail to keep it if the need arises. Time to start. The whole thing started with a simple encounter. At the facility where I work, we have contractors, people who come in and will do a job, then leave. In this case, my bully, whom I will refer to as SB, was with one of these contracted companies supporting maintenance with electrical and framework updates across the shop floor. I got one of my usual support request calls and went down to see what was up. On the way, I saw him walking in the opposite direction. At first, I didn't recognize him. It had been nearly 20 years. So I nodded politely and moved on. It didn't click until later who he was, and at that time, I decided to ignore it. I had my own job to think about. 2 days later, the signs started. I was doing some stock audit work on the floor when one of the assembly workers I know wanted to ask me a question. I know almost all of the workers here. I said sure, so he asked me if it was true that in school I tried to rape a classmate. I won't lie, I was really taken aback. The answer, of course, was a resounding no. I was pissed, so I asked him who brought up such a thing. He told me that a contractor from a certain company was talking to him and a few others and brought it up. He said this guy talked a lot of hate, full smack. He told me he didn't believe it but wanted to hear it from me. Fair enough. I asked for more details about the smack-talking perp and his description fit SB. I was not amused. I didn't want to deal with this. I was happy and didn't want to jeopardize that with my job by confronting a person who would just deny it. Asking the shop floor workers to back me up as witnesses wouldn't work in either. Even though they are decent people, they wouldn't want to risk their paychecks for such drama. Instead, I called my brother who works as one of the maintenance managers. I convinced him to tell me where the company SB worked for was doing their work. I explained the situation and he told me to leave it because within a couple of months, when the work was done, they would move on. It was understandable, but I'm a little paranoid and wanted to keep my wits about me just in case. For about a week, I stalked the group with which SB was working. I would simply walk by and make a note of who the shop floor guys he was working with were. After SB moved on, I would casually ask everyone how things were going. The common thread was that one of the contractors on site really hated my guts and talked a lot of shit. Multiple people told me that when he noticed me around, he would go into small tirades about how I did this or something else when we were younger. Things like how I did drugs or I quit school because I was a waste. Things like that. The thing is that everything I heard was very nostalgic in a bad way. Everything said was a classic excuse the haters would have used. They never actually had a reason to hate me, so they would make something up. Hence why I called them the haters. After this, I decided that it would be best to keep on damage control. I know how things can be. If a rumor is heard, enough people will start to believe it. I didn't want to confront SB either since I figured that nothing would come of it. My brother was right. After a month or so, this asshat would be gone, but fate had other things in mind. My boss, being the nice guy that he is, called me up one day to ask if everything was okay. The rumors had gotten back to him and he wanted to ask me about them. I explained the situation and my plan for damage control. He understood and told me to keep it up. Unannounced to me, he was annoyed enough to talk to SB's boss about what was going on, which led me to my first real encounter with SB. This happened the next night. I was heading to my car because I was done with the night. SB was waiting for me outside by the back lot. I was halfway to my car when he called out, "SB, hey, we need to talk." I turned and saw him, but not wanting to deal with it, I ignored him and continued to my car. SB, don't fucking ignore me. I have been through hell because of you. He sped up and got in between me and my car. So now I have no choice but to listen. If I tried to go all the way back to the lobby, he would just get in my way again. SB, I got bitched out by my boss because of you. Someone said I was acting inappropriately while on the job. Me. Okay, and this involves me how? I said it all passively, figuring on playing dumb. It was obvious my boss talked to his boss, getting him in trouble. SB, I know it was you who told my boss. Me, dude, I didn't tell anyone about anything, I don't care, so just leave me alone. SB, fuck that, I know you. I know all about you. I remember the good days when we used to beat the crap out of you. I can bet you would love to have some revenge. I'm not going to let that happen by not letting this slide. You know your place or I'll beat you. I interrupted him since I was getting pissed at this point. I said, you. This isn't that hellhole of a school. Do you really think you could just get everyone to hate me by spreading dumb rumors? I remember this point very well. He got a real smug look on his face, like someone who just won an argument. I can bet my remark let the cat out of the bag. I could also remember having to hold myself back from punching that smug face. SB, do you think anybody gives a shit about you? Nothing's changed. This is when he said it, the nickname that still pisses me off. He called me the derogatory word they called me in school, the one they used as an excuse to beat me up or insult me. I'm not posting it here. I bet I can get everyone to hate you because you know you're worthless. By this point, my emotions were out in the open, and I think he noticed because instead of stopping, he picked up momentum. SB, I saw you and that fat fuck of a wife around town. Maybe I'll tell her to. I can bet she would kill herself if she knew what a ex you are. What are you upset about? Are you going to cry as you used to? How about this? I'll say what I want when I want, or find you and your fucking wife and beat you to death. I'll leave you alone to think about what I said, and I'll see you tomorrow, fucking X. He left it at that and walked off. I stood there for a bit and thought. I was now seething. I wanted to turn on the app and punch his lights out, but I know if I did, I would just get fired because of the no tolerance rules we have. Then I had an idea. He was right. By this point, I wanted revenge. He insulted me and my 5-month pregnant wife. Nope, not going to put up with this shit. I went home and vented the event to my loving wife, who listened and gave me a well-needed hug. The next day, I went into motion. The first thing I did was talk to security. They had cameras for the parking lots, so I requested the video for the time frame. SB and I had our little chat. The video didn't have audio, but I had proof of his approach. This is why you become friends with the other departments. You never know when you will need their help. They found exactly what I needed. The video showed him coming up on the back lot and hiding behind the fence. Then it showed his approach as I was walking to my car. It made it obvious he was waiting for me since he had no reason to be there. They copied the video and, per my request, sent it to my boss and to the site VIP. The VIP is the guy who runs the entirety of the plant. VIP is just the IT nickname. I then called my boss and explained the email and what happened. I also explained that I sent it to the VIP, so we ended up scheduling a meeting later that day. It was just me, my boss, and VIP. It was mainly to explain the video and what happened. During the meeting, the VIP got the contracting company's owner on call. I then once again explained myself. I explained SB's threats and that I have felt like my safety was put in jeopardy. My workplace has a no tolerance rule for threats like this, so I knew it would be taken more seriously if I added that in. Now for the results. During the talk, after I explained what happened, the contracted company told us they would fire him because not doing so would risk the contract they had with us. My VIP also called the police as per the rules for anything like this. The police came, took a statement from me, my boss, saw the video, and then arrested SB during his lunch break due to the threats of violence. A week later, I got a summons to court to speak on my behalf. I told the judge what happened as I told my boss and VIP. I wasn't told what SB was charged with since the county decided to charge him on their own, but I do know he spent a small amount of time in jail and got a fine. After that, I was allowed to get a restraining order. This kind of thing still peeves me off, but I wanted to type this up while it was still fairly fresh. I also wanted to wait until things were said and done. I was told by a lawyer that since his trial is over, the matter can't be overturned because of what I wrote here. Also, for those curious, VIP is basically the manager of the entire plant, but calling him that actually makes his role seem less than it really is, so calling him this seemed more fitting. Also, note that I can't release the video. It's company property, and I don't want to get fired. Edit, someone asked, so I looked up what he was charged with. He was charged with criminal harassment and making criminal threats. It's nothing super big, but big enough for a $1,000 fine. Nothing super big, but at least I hope he will think twice before doing it again. OP's bully was definitely unhinged. It seemed like a lot of the rumors he spread was just him projecting. This really feels like an example of someone peaking in high school and now they're unhappy with their position and feel the need to put others down. In high school, he was seen as powerful, and no one could disagree with him. But now that he's in the real world, where petty high school politics don't exist, he's no longer viewed as a powerful individual who can step over others. I doubt it, but hopefully this event can serve as a moment for the bully to finally get his act together and live his own life without having to pick on others. This next post was created in 2023 in the Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Civilman1234. The post is titled, "I went through my GF's phone and it left me broken. Excuse me for the lengthy post, I just need to vent. I, 22 male, have been dating my GF, 21, for a few months now, and I thought she was a very sweet person. She was my first girlfriend. In fact, she was my first freaking everything because I grew up with strict abusive parents. She genuinely seemed like a decent person. The only thing that threw me off was that sometimes when we were on our phones cuddling, sleeping, or close to each other, she'd slowly move her body and phone away from my field of view. Whatever, I didn't really think it was a big deal because she could have just wanted some privacy. One day, I went over to her place and she went to shower, leaving her unlocked phone in the drawer. I know that this may be a breach of privacy, but I was just really curious as to why she'd try to hide her phone from my field of view. I didn't really check much, but one thing in particular that left my heart in shambles was a group chat with her girlfriends with some of the names that I had recognized. I took a screenshot and sent it to myself. These were the messages word for word. Her, his dick is small, it's like 3. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Her friends laughed and said things like, "You deserve better, he has an actual shrimp, and there's his flaw." I had stopped reading there and bawled my eyes out. I packed my stuff up and left. When we had sex, she laughed at my penis. I'm not going to lie, that had really killed the mood for me and I didn't want to have sex anymore, especially as a virgin. I just barely held an erection and wanted to crawl into a hole. For the record, yes, my penis is smaller than average, but it's actually 3.5 inches, not 3 inches. This is if we're considering the global average is 5 inches. Not that it matters anyway, but I kind of felt like I had to say this. I've been super mentally after I went back to my place. I texted my manager about taking a week off. During that week, I stopped going to the gym and spent every day primarily crying in bed. I didn't talk to her at all. I only had about 600 calories of food daily and I probably only showered twice. It's been 2 or so days after that week and I'm doing a bit better now. I'm going back to work and I've been slowly easing back to my original gym routine. I still haven't talked to her though because it'll probably make me depressed again. I've always been insecure about my ever since my teenage years, and I just don't get why it's okay to shame, as if I have any control over that. It's not like I don't want an average penis. I had never once made any negative remarks about her vagina or any woman's vagina for that matter, because I know that it's not shit that can be controlled. This all just sucks. Update. Thank you everyone for your insight and thank you to everyone who reached out to me in privacy. There are some things that were left ambiguous, things that I had left out in the main post, or certain comments wondering things, so I thought I'd address some here. I'll probably add more when I read more comments. We haven't had any kind of formal breakup, but it's kind of implied since we haven't talked in like roughly 10 days now. She did message me at least twice. Where did you go and why do you leave? I haven't checked after that because I muted her. I only checked her messages and took screenshots of that conversation. There are some things that I left out in that exchange that are more or less similar to the messages for the sake of brevity. I deleted the screenshots a day or two after that. It's probably still in my recently deleted since I haven't bothered to delete it from there as well. I feel bad for OP, but this is just one of those things in life where you can let it define all that you are, or you can own it and live a good life. I don't exactly want to blame OP's GF here because she's allowed to say what she wants, but obviously telling all of her friends about this and laughing at the guy is a dick move. No pun intended. This on top of the fact that OP said his GF literally laughed at his dick when they were about to have sex was just a telling sign that this relationship was never gonna work, and that's totally fine. But being that this was the first relationship that OP had, he doesn't understand that this is just one person. What she thinks is not the end all be all of his life. Assuming that this doesn't completely cripple the guy mentally for the rest of his life, he will eventually find someone that is happy to be with him as he is. This is something that I personally never understood. When your partner, regardless if they're male or female, doesn't like you for a particular reason, especially if it's a shallow reason, Why make it a huge deal? Of course, this mainly applies to newer relationships where not as much time has been invested. But in a situation like OP's, he shouldn't care about the opinion of someone that he will likely never meet again. There's this one saying that puts you in a particular scenario. It said something like, if you had $1 million in the bank and suddenly saw $3 to $5 missing from your account, you probably wouldn't allow the missing money to affect how you enjoy the rest of it. You would just go on with your life. You need to apply this thinking to your own time and life. If someone does something to upset you, you shouldn't allow that brief exchange to negatively affect the rest of your day and life. One user named TotalPotato95 left this comment: just break up and send her the screenshots you took. You deserve better and she ain't it, brother. Keep your chin up and good luck. You deserve to be loved and respected. Edit: please don't send her the screenshots and don't let her learn from this mistake. Keep how you know to yourself and just go and see. Edit 2, by learn from her mistakes. Mistakes isn't what she said, but how she left her phone unsecure with that info on it. This mistake can help the next man get out before more heartbreak. She wouldn't change for the better even if he told her that this behavior she is showing is horrible. Another user named AlarmedP4292 said this: as a woman myself, I don't see why girls think it's okay to talk to them about these things, especially when they have nothing nice to say. I'm sorry you found out that she was bad-mouthing your size, but I promise you there's another woman out there who prefers smaller than larger. It's not about the size in my opinion, it's about how you work it, and as long as both sides of intimacy are met, that's a win. Break up with this girl because that's what she is. If she was a woman, she would have come to you and talked about other ways you and her could work things out. Intimacy that would make both parties feel good. Another comment left by a user named MusesX9 said the following: OP, please do not contact her. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of knowing you were hurt or found out or whatever. I would just block and move on. Let her know that she was not good enough for you. You deserve someone better than that. She's unkind and does not deserve someone who cares like you. You sound like you have a beautiful soul. She does not deserve to even peek at it, but less be a part of your journey. As for your concerns, OP, I am sure you feel embarrassed, but you shouldn't be. You are perfect, and the one waiting for you is out there. It's not the size of the vessel, it's the journey. I truly believe that and will tell you that your size is nothing to be depressed about, but I know it's easier said than done. Please forgive yourself and focus your energies on someone who is deserving of an incredible captain. I wanted to add on to my earlier comments as I felt I wasn't harsh enough on OP's GF. Again, she can have her preferences, but laughing about it behind OP's back is cruel. And just like how that one user said, OP's GF is an immature girl, not a woman. Additionally, I mentioned that I didn't understand how people get so hung up on things when they involve individuals who dislike them. I wanted to clarify that when I said this, I meant it in a way that they're not worth the time, energy, and mental space. I understand that the primary reason why so many people get hung up on others is likely due to past trauma of not feeling good enough. And as OP shared, he faced a lot of abuse earlier in his life.